While studying architecture at university, I hoped I would get sufficient information about Soviet modernism, but unfortunately, that was not the case. That inspired me to start my own research. The most significant period in the development of modernism in Ukraine is the period of 1960s. The objects built in those times are the bordering approach and resemblance of international style. They symbolize the global idea of the 60s, the youth of the world.
Modernism is not a style, not a shape, and not even an epoch. Modernism is about the way of thinking. Ukrainian architecture of modernism of both waves, post-modernism and contemporary architecture in particular, I realized that there is no continuity in generations of architects. Each succeeding generation does not just reject the previous one, but does not notice it at all, is not even aware of its existence. It's supposed to be a productive dialogue, a fruitful discussion, and a healthy criticism between generations. However, it's rather disregard of each other. It means that we are always back to square one, starting all over again like there has been no history and no predecessors.
The architecture from the early 70s until the collapse of the USSR was massive and complex as that period in general. It contradicts the main idea of modernism. During that time, quite a lot of buildings were built, but only a few of them stood out.
Today's architects do not engage in a dialogue with yesterday's ones, and they, in turn, did not appreciate the architects of the day before. Is it a classic generation gap? Obviously, we have no interaction or communication, even a conflicting one, with the previous generation. An interesting pattern is produced. We are not willing to speak with the generation of fathers and mothers, but always turn to the legacy of grandfathers and grandmothers. Today, we are talking with the generation of the 60s, while at their time they were linked to the constructivists of the 20s, 30s.
Studying these objects, I try to pay painstaking and comprehensive attention to all the details, starting from the project's general idea to its decor. One of the main features of the architecture of that period is integrity and complexity of the projects. Our project caught the last ride, and we are looking out the window at the last rays of the sun of that period of Ukrainian architecture. Perhaps in 10 years, there will be nothing left from those objects in their original shape. Many will be remodeled or demolished. As of now, I don't see the future where those buildings are to be restored and recreated, like old mansions and temples.
Modernists of the 60s is an amazing generation of architects. In the thought period, they did believe in the possibility of a pure, honest, innovative way, in the concurrence of genuine and proclaimed goals. They lost their revolution. The same revolutions were lost all over the world.